I was on a road trip across the country, trying to make it to a family event on the other side of the state. The drive was supposed to take 8 hours, but heavy rain and traffic delays had turned it into a nightmare. By the time the clock hit 11 p.m., I was exhausted and knew I couldn't keep driving. I pulled off at the nearest exit and found a small roadside motel. The neon sign flickered weakly, reading "Vacancy." The place looked a little run down, but I didn't care. I just needed a place to sleep for the night. The lobby was empty when I walked in, except for an older man sitting behind the front desk. He looked up at me with tired eyes. "Room for one?" I asked. He nodded, sliding over a key without much conversation. "Room 6. Down the hall to the left." I paid in cash, grabbed the key, and made my way to the room. The hallway was dimly lit, with a faint, musty smell hanging in the air. When I reached the door to room 6, I fumbled with the key for a second before unlocking it and stepping inside. The room was exactly what you'd expect from a cheap motel: dated wallpaper, a sagging mattress, and a tiny TV mounted on the wall. I locked the door behind me, dropped my bag on the chair, and collapsed onto the bed. I must have dozed off for a while because the next thing I knew, I was woken up by a loud knocking at the door. I sat up, groggy and confused, checking my phone. It was 2:30 a.m. The knocking came again, harder this time. "Who is it?" I called out, my voice shaky. No answer. I got up, my heart racing, and looked through the peephole. There was a man standing on the other side, but I couldn't see his face clearly. He was wearing a hood. "Can I help you?" I asked, trying to sound confident. "You're in my room," the man said flatly. His voice was cold, almost mechanical. "What are you talking about? I rented this room tonight," I said. There was a long pause before he responded. "Number this is my room." My stomach dropped. Something about the way he said it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. "I think you've got the wrong room," I said quickly, backing away from the door. The man didn't respond. Instead, I heard the sound of the doorknob jiggling. He was trying to open the door. I grabbed my phone and called the front desk. The old man picked up after a few rings, sounding half asleep. "Someone's trying to get into my room," I whispered urgently. "What room are you in?" he asked, sounding confused. "Room 6, I said. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. "That's not possible," the old man said finally. "Room 6 hasn't been rented out in years." "What are you talking about? I'm in room 6 right now." He hesitated. I don't know who gave you that key, but you need to get out of there. Right now." Before I could say anything else, I heard the sound of the door unlocking. The key. The man outside had a key. I dropped my phone and ran for the bathroom, locking myself inside just as the door to the room swung open. I could hear heavy footsteps moving around. "You shouldn't be here," the man said softly, his voice muffled through the bathroom door. I stayed silent, my heart pounding in my chest. The footsteps stopped right outside the bathroom. I thought for sure that he was going to break the door down, but after what felt like an eternity, the footsteps retreated. I stayed in the bathroom for hours, too scared to come out. When the sun finally started to rise, I cautiously opened the door. The room was empty. The front door was wide open, and the key I'd been given was lying on the floor. I didn't stick around to ask questions. I grabbed my bag and bolted to my car. When I stopped at a gas station hours later, I decided to look up the motel out of curiosity. Apparently, room 6 had been abandoned for years after a man was found dead inside. His killer was never caught. To this day, I don't know who or what was in that room with me that night.